When we talk about AI, we're really at a fork in the road. The path we choose right now could lead to one of two completely different futures. One is a world of unprecedented wealth for everyone, and the other, well, it's widespread economic ruin. According to the source material we're looking at, the outcome depends entirely on the rules we decide to write.
And I mean, just look at these two possibilities. They're polar opposites. On one side, you have a future where AI's incredible efficiency creates more than enough for everybody. But on the other side, that exact same efficiency makes human labor worthless, leaving most people with absolutely nothing. The stakes really could not be higher.
So how does something like this even happen? Well, it wouldn't be all at once. The argument is that it's more like a cascade, a domino effect that starts small but then just rips through the entire economy. It's this whole process that starts with AI being your helpful little assistant and ends with it being your total replacement. Okay, so let's break this down. It basically happens in 3 stages. First up, AI is just a tool, right? It helps us out, makes us better at our jobs. Then things get a little more serious. It starts to actually outperform us at really complex tasks. And the final step, full-blown replacement, where it just doesn't make economic sense to hire a person for most jobs anymore.
And you might think the first jobs to go would be on a factory floor, right? Well, think again. The first wave of this cascade is predicted to hit office buildings. We're talking white-collar jobs, lawyers, programmers, financial analysts. At first, AI just helps with the boring stuff, but as it gets smarter, it starts taking over the really important core functions of those jobs.
And if you want a number to really wrap your head around, check this out. Some analyses suggest that almost half, 47% of all knowledge-based jobs could be automated in about a decade. We're talking about jobs that require deep thinking, expertise, and even creativity. I mean, that is just a staggering number that would completely change everything we think about careers.
Okay, so after it hits the office, where does this automation wave go next? Straight to our roads. Trucking and ride-hailing are seen as the next big dominoes to fall. Self-driving trucks and cars could put millions of drivers out of work. And it could go even further. If AI taxis are super cheap and convenient, why would you even own a car? That could crater the entire auto industry.
And it just doesn't stop there. The argument here is that this wave is relentless. It spreads to pretty much every corner of the economy. You've got manufacturing plants running completely in the dark, totally automated. You've got AI diagnosing diseases in healthcare, robots building our houses, and retail stores with no cashiers at all. The central point is that no job, no industry is truly safe.
So, with all this incredible new efficiency, what's the catch? What happens to, well, us, the people? This is where the whole conversation shifts from cool technology to a potential economic breakdown. What is the human cost when millions and millions of people suddenly have no way to earn a living?
And this right here gets to the absolute heart of the paradox. Think about it. You've got this amazing economy that can produce almost anything for next to nothing. But if nobody has a job, who's actually buying all this stuff? You end up with what the source calls a demand vacuum. And this can spiral out of control really fast. It becomes a vicious cycle. So first, AI takes the jobs on a massive scale. Then, all those people lose their paychecks. Without money, of course, they stop buying things, so consumer spending just collapses. And boom, the whole hyper-efficient economy just seizes up and grinds to a halt.
And the social fallout? The source material paints a pretty grim picture. Society starts to fragment. All that incredible wealth generated by AI just gets funneled up to a tiny handful of people who own the systems. Meanwhile, everyone else gets left behind. Social safety nets completely buckle under the strain. Inequality goes through the roof, and the whole fabric of society starts to tear apart.
Okay, but it doesn't have to be this way. This dystopian future isn't set in stone. The source argues there's a solution, but it requires us to be bold. It means creating a whole new economic model through deliberate, forward-thinking laws. So what on earth would that actually look like?
Well, a 5-point plan is laid out. It starts with simple things like mandatory labeling of AI-generated work, but then it gets into some really big ideas. A national compensation pool for anyone laid off, a way to give those same workers equity, a mandate for sharing profits, and even caps on executive pay.
Let's dig into that compensation pool, because it's a really core idea here. The concept is to turn job loss into shared ownership. So for every single worker a company replaces with AI, that company has to contribute some of its stock into a big national fund. It completely changes the game. Automation would directly create more public owners of that automation.
And they're not just talking in abstracts. They put a hard number on it to make it real. The proposal suggests that every worker laid off because of AI would get $100,000 worth of stock from that national pool. This would give them a direct financial stake in the very technology that took their job.
Another huge piece of this puzzle is the profit-sharing mandate. It's pretty straightforward. AI company profits get split right down the middle. Half would go out as dividends to all the shareholders, which now includes all those displaced workers. And the other half? That gets mandated for R&D on projects that benefit all of humanity, like new climate tech or basic services.
So, let's be super clear about the goal here. The point is not to hit the brakes on technology or stop progress. Not at all. It's about building new rules for the road, new channels to make sure the incredible wealth that AI is going to create flows out to everyone. It's about creating a true stakeholder society, not just a world with a handful of new billionaires.
And that brings us to the final provocative question. It's the choice between those two paths we saw at the beginning. Do we proactively design the future we want, a future where AI works for all of us, or do we just wait, do nothing, and risk a future we'll all regret? The argument presented is pretty clear. The choice is ours, and the clock is ticking.